Shalom Science and Technology Academy STAC, Enugu State, on 29th July, held her graduation ceremony in a very grand style. The ceremony had dignitaries, parents, students, and friends of the school in attendance. Dr. Willie Onu, Chairman, Shalom Group of Schools Limited, and Professor Vicky Onu, Proprietress, Shalom Schools Limited, and first female professor in creativity in Africa, were excited to lead the graduating students forward to their next level and journey in life. The event witnessed special activities by the students of the school, such as debate, poetry, and scientific displays. Tochukwu Onu, the Director of Administration, said that the students were groomed to have problem-solving skills and a leadership mindset.
As you can see, in this school, we pay very particular attention to the details of making sure that our students are brought up exceptionally when it comes to academic excellence, spiritual and moral impeccability, as well as social interactability, leading on to leadership roles. So in other words, we're raising leaders in this school.
This was evident in some of the products the students built, such as smart automated pumping machine, an incubator that hatches eggs to birds, drones, and more. The assistant to the governor on legal matters, Dr. Osinachi Nnaji Eze, the special guest of honor, was overly impressed.
I think they are doing great. In the sense that they are doing what we hope should be a norm within our states, in Enugu State and the rest of the country. What they are doing, they are raising leaders, inculcating values in them, raising people who are knowledgeable, who can use that knowledge in an applied manner, people who can apply the knowledge for problem solving, real problem solving. That is the missing link in our education. Our education mostly has become a test of memory rather than a test of aptitude. But here you can see a meeting point between learning, aptitude, and problem solving. That is wonderful.
Teachers were given awards based on their good works in enhancing the learning process of students. Many outstanding students received awards and were decorated with medals. They were quite thankful for the opportunity to have passed through STAC.
I mean, now you can see why that was an event to remember. And we do have the Director of Administration, Shalom Science and Technology Academy, in the person of Mr. Tochukwu Onu, to tell us more about it and how he's able to inculcate leadership skills in the students. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us, sir.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you
so
very
first
much.
and foremost, how did you feel seeing your students graduate?
It's actually an awesome, feeling, and it's something that happens every year now. Let me just give you a little snippet on, the process. These kids came in as, JSS1 students, year 7 students. So it's been actually 6 years in preparation. So you would imagine how exciting and the graduation ceremony of these kids that you saw grow and develop in literally all aspects of your lives would be. So it's an event that is historical, actually, because 6 years ago, well, going to 7 by this session, we began the school. So we've had, 2 graduates now. So whenever the graduation ceremony comes, which we also call a STAC Day, which is also an end of session ceremony, it's always something fantastic and exciting. And I can tell you that my joy knows no bound when I see these young ones proceed. First, because I know that their future is almost certainly guaranteed wherever they find themselves post-secondary school around the world because of what we've infused inside of them.
Okay, Oji.
Okay, I was going to get to this question because
Right.
we know how our institutions are these days, right? Talking about the federal and the public institutions, educational sectors now, right? But this is a private firm, and
Yes.
your values, you guys are going to be imputing in these kids are somewhat non-negotiable.
Right.
It's very important, very vital. Right. So I was going to ask you, how do you train these students to start having these solving skills and problem-solving skills and leadership mindset? How do you inculcate these things, the values? How do you train your teachers too? Because they are the leaders there, and they're the ones imbibing these things in these kids. Yeah. So the motivation, all you have to put in to make them carry on and teach these students problem-solving skills and have that leadership mindset.
Right. So you see, this is a whole, should I say, system or a whole process. For starters, the owner of the school, Dr. Willie Odu, is actually an educationist, true and true. The problem that you identified in the education sector, unfortunately, is one that is rife and very evident. You look at a lot of schools and all, and you're not sure about actually what goes on there. And it's simply because a lot of, should I say, businessmen in quote have come into the education sector. So you have people who are not really passionate about delivering qualitative and quantitative education. Well, luckily for us, it's different because, like I said, it's a whole process. It's not something that you just bring in a child and infuse. It's a process that starts from the day one that they come into the school as students, they're admitted into the school as students. And like I mentioned earlier, it makes it a lot easier to imbibe because when they come in as more or less children and or kids in early teens. So at that age, they are more susceptible to learning new things. They are more like a blank template. In terms of our staff, of course, actually our staff are the bridge between our vision, our core values, and the students because they link the two. Our recruitment, it starts from our recruitment process, and like I said, because our director, is an educationist, true and true, the training process of this staff as well is one that actually makes them identify, believe, and more or less, they themselves first accept the core values of the school, which is more or less making sure that we raise a holistic individual, or we raise holistic children, ones that are, not only academically excellent, but also spiritually and morally impeccable, and also people who can see problems as actually, matters that can be solved. We're in a society that is more or less briefed with challenges, problems. There are so many problems. What we lack actually are the availability of problem solvers, or in terms of quantity, how many are they? People who look at problems and challenges and are saying, actually, there is a solution to this. So it's a process that starts from their junior secondary school, their JSS1, JSS2, JSS3. Like I said, is a 6-year timeline. And through the activities they do, through the teaching and learning that goes on in that school, we begin to see a natural shift from the usual learning. Like you had the essay to His Excellency in legal matters say, what we're doing at Shalom Science and Technology Academy is shifting from the norm, where actually, should I say, education is classed by what you're able to remember.
All right, so
Yes.
if you look at the screen now, you see a very, very beautiful dispenser.
Yes.
Now, quality education today involves teaching creativity.
Yeah.
How were you able to impact that in these students? Because beyond just knowing the formulas for solving various mathematics problems, you also have to know how to be creative.
Absolutely.
That is the only way to stand out.
Yeah.
How are you able to achieve
So
this?
basically, creative.
You guys have made a drone too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes,
In fact,
the
what we that's why I said every year it's a new buzz going on there. Actually, personally for me, I'm a British trained mechanical engineer, and what I found out when I finished my secondary school and traveled for my university was that actually education, the whole concept of education should be to problem solve. You see, you don't learn to just acquire knowledge, right? When you say your education is complete or holistic, is when you're able to use your knowledge that you've acquired to look at problems differently. So yes, at STAC, which is Shalom Science and Technology Academy, creativity and innovation is something that it's very, very particular to us. We take it very seriously, and you can find this from what we teach. That's our curricula. The way we teach what we teach. So basically, the way and strategies that our teachers infuse this knowledge. So, for example, it's not unusual, for example, for a class to happen in the garden of the school. I give you an example, some of the clubs we have, which is my third point, the activities that the students actually do in school. So for example, a club like agricultural science, where you could see we produced a smart incubator. One of the challenges or one of the issues we face every year is having to buy in chicks, day-old chicks, because our kids actually know how to breed birds, chicken, and so many other animals. So for example, the chicken example, we buy it in. And what we see is that sometimes before these chicks actually come into the school, they're tired, they've traveled, you know, the whole road situation. So sometimes we buy in 30 day-old chicks, and by the next day we have just 10 dead. You see, because of the whole challenges alongside traveling, their medication and so on. So what did we think about doing? Oh, actually, we can create a system where we just need to get fertilized egg from nearby farms within Enugu State without having to travel. Actually, we buy from Ogun State because we found that their species were a bit better. But we could get fertilized egg and actually produce our own day-old chicks in school. So this is a problem that we saw, and then we looked at a solution. So that is the link between the two is problem solving.
Okay, so I would like us to, on a summary note, talk about students giving back.
Yeah.
Now, we've been talking about various anniversaries that have been holding, alumni association anniversaries. So in terms of your students, the ones that have just passed out, what are expectations you have? What are expectations you have for them to implement in society?
Right.
And perhaps in years to come, look back and say, this is how I want to help develop STAC.
Yes, so this actually kind of buttresses the leadership role. Because we've created individuals, and I speak to my students, I believe some of them will be watching because I actually broadcasted this earlier. You must know that you are an ambassador of a school that is different. So for 6 years, we've infused into you leadership. Leadership is more or less service, right? So when you head out post-secondary school, now that you have graduated, it is now a call to service wherever you find yourself. In universities, we have students who are around the world because we graduated some last year, we graduated some this year. So wherever you find yourself, remember that you are distinct. Remember that you have it in you already, what you need to succeed. Don't take no as an answer. Remember that hard work, discipline is what pushes you further towards excellence. Remember the school you're coming from, and make sure that in service that you're giving back to society. Whether you're pursuing a medical career, whether you're pursuing an engineering, robotics, software career, look at problems that are evident in our society, even if you're studying outside. I studied for 6 years, did my master's, spent like 10 years in the UK before coming back to give back what I believe I had already attained or obtained. So this should actually think about your society, even as you're studying wherever you are in the world. If you're in Nigeria, great. Whatever you are studying as part of your post-secondary education, look at how you can help the society become better as a result of what you have done. And I hope you show your distinguished self as you do that.
Thank you so much. I can guarantee you that some of your students are smiling at the moment. I mean, I am here. I feel like you're speaking to me,
right.
If I attended the school. Thank you so much.
You're very much welcome.
You, yeah.
Thanks a lot for coming.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I mean, we do definitely join the Director of Administration to reach out to students out there to be great ambassadors of the school. We've seen the reports, lots of innovative ideas there, creativity at its very peak. Please keep the flag flying. After the break, we're going to be joined by our social media queen for social media trends. Stay tuned.